So I've been thinking a lot lately. This is just a free form, kind of almost podcast format. Um, I've been thinking a lot about lately about how do you go after the left? How do you attack them? What are strategies we can use? A lot of people online have been dealing with them the past couple of years, but as a conservative, conservatives have been dealing with the left, the progressive left, for much longer. We kind of lost to them, so now, but we've kind of found a few ways of dealing with them, and I want to speak more as myself as an individual. What I have observed is the left seems to, they don't care as much about when you attack them personally. They actually care more when you attack their special interest group that they care about. Their protected group that they've adopted or whatever, the LGBT or trans, Muslims, is that kind of thing. If you go after these groups, they'll be more offended than when you go after them personally. Even though they will also be offended if you go after them personally, they'll call it harassment. But they always seem to get outraged for someone else as opposed to them personally themselves. So there must be some way we can integrate that into our strategy of, going after these self-proclaimed groups of people that they protect, quote unquote, protect. Because the very fact that there are groups that you simply cannot criticize because they're part of some special protected group is ludicrous. Not in a democracy, not in a free society. We all have to stand on our own. We all are individuals. We all have to learn how to take criticism. It doesn't matter who we are. If you're trans, gay, Muslim, whatever. It shouldn't matter. You need to take criticism because, and you don't have the right to not be offended in a free society. You just don't. You're going to be offended. I'm offended all the time. I just shrug and say, okay, whatever, screw you. You need a thick skin. That comes from living in a democracy, in a free society. If you want to live in an authoritarian dictatorship, oh yeah, there's lots of people that their feelings are protected, starting with the dictator, by the way. Yeah, and the funny thing is these people think they're the ones who deserve the special treatment when they get offended, but it's always the ones in charge and power that are the ones that have the most amount of feelings to protect. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. This is I'm just ranting here. I'm just free form thought, no script. Just a few things just off the top of my head. Hey, let's watch some ponage from the Parliament. I love Canadian Parliament. It's just entertaining to watch. So many back and forths. It's like a brawl.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday the Prime Minister articulated his sophisticated thoughts on the threats of global terrorism. He told Americans that it was super important to invest in investigative national security stuff. He then described the impact of violent acts of terror, saying Canadians are able to respond to, quote, bad things happening without, quote, falling into a bad space. After abandoning the fight against ISIS and cutting our armed forces, can the Prime Minister tell Canadians what kind of stuff he's investing in and how he plans on keeping those positive vibes coming to keep us out of a bad space?
I don't really like Scheer. I don't like the fact that he's always got a bit of a shit-eating grin on his face all the time. He looks like he's smirking all the time. I just don't like that. I don't know. But, he's pretty smart, so I'll give him a pass on that.
Honourable Prime Minister. I'm glad the Leader of the Opposition's new duties hasn't kept him from his daytime TV watching.
Ooh, Justin Trudeau with a right cross to Scheer's face. How will the opponents respond?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, we take very, very seriously the importance of both protecting Canadians' rights and defending our safety at the same time.
Hey, shithead. Have you ever heard the quote, those who are willing to exchange freedom for safety will deserve neither and have neither? That's butchering that term, by the way. That's paraphrasing it, but I believe it was one of the American founders that came up with that?
We committed to Canadians in the last election campaign that we would get that balance right, that we would make sure that always we are defending Canadians' rights and protecting our communities at the same time. That's what Canadians expect. That's what we will do.
Order, order. I realize that all the members are in a party mood, I hope, but let's make sure we listen to the questions and the answers. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Well, Mr. Speaker, after a week of avoiding me, that was the only place I could find him.
Right on, right on, right on. Go get him, Scheer. I love Canadian Parliament. It's just like a brawl with words, and it's not eloquent like the British Parliament, where they'll oh, you're such a bloody twat. Why don't you go crying home to Mum and have a spot of tea? You'd think I'm drunk with this, but I'm not. I'm completely sober doing this, and that's disturbing. Yeah, I think I'm going to stop before I insult anybody else's allied nation, a member of the Commonwealth, so to speak. Oh, those Australians. In completely unrelated news, it has come to my attention that I can't spell because I misspelled Lindsay Shepherd's name twice, 2 different ways, and they're both wrong. I'll have that fixed immediately.